So last week you had a lot of questions about how to operate under a lockdown. So let's tackle them right away with our first guest, who is a DLD expert. I will now hand it over to Lynette to drive the Q&A session. Lynette?
Thank you, Ari. Hi, everybody. It's very nice to be here today with you. I would like to introduce Hiba Jabbar from Dubai Land Department, Dubai Real Estate Institute. For over a decade, Hiba has been a consultant and instructor at DREI, conducting real estate sales and leasing brokerage laws and regulations training in Dubai, Sharjah, and Bahrain. Hiba, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate DLD, DREI partnering with us for our webinars.
Good morning, Lynette. Good morning, Stuart. Good morning, Property Finder team, and everybody who's joining us this morning. Hope everyone is staying safe and keeping well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Hiba. So as you can imagine, our clients have a lot of questions on how they can transact during this time. And we've been answering them during our previous webinars. So what we did is we collated all of the questions that were DLD related, and I'm going to get straight into it. So first question that I have for you is regarding DLD, the 4% transaction fee. Is there anything going to come up from DLD to either reduce the transaction fee or waive them completely?
So the answer is no, there is not. Having said that, and according to articles that have been published in the likes of Gulf Today, some of the initiatives that DIFC is considering included reducing its ownership transfer fees from 5 to 4% for any property sale that occurs within the authorized 3 months period. So if ownership transfers are registered at DIFC within that 30-day window at the end of the 3 months period of April 1st through June 30th, 2020. Having said that, DLD has waived the late registration fees fine from mid-March 2020 till the end of May 2020. There might be other incentives for the sector, but for now, nothing has been officially announced.
Okay, thank you. That's very insightful. Next question we covered last week during our webinar, but we would like to hear the official response from DLD. So are transactions currently being transferred today in the DLD or the TESGEO centers since they're not open?
So as a matter of fact, Lynette, and this is a misconception, DLD is not closed. Transactions and sales transfers are being done. All DLD services are available remotely with 100% reliability. If someone needs more information on how to connect or how is the process is happening under, the different ways of doing business during this unusual time, they can call their hotline. Their hotline is 800-488 and visit their website. The digital and official way of transferring properties will be shared on DLD's and DREI's social channels. So I'm encouraging everyone who has not done so yet to follow Dubai Land Department and Dubai Real Estate Institute, be it on Instagram, LinkedIn, just to make sure that they are connected.
Thank you. Yes, I saw one of your live feeds from DREI answering questions, and it was very, very good. Okay, next question. If a tenant has put a deposit down on a new property and is unable to move, can they withdraw from the new property and stay in the current property? And also, is it true that people are unable to move currently?
Okay, so good question. It is a legal question. The laws haven't changed yet, Lynette, but I'm going to answer it to the best of my ability and just from my kind of the way I see things, right? Tenants and landlords should be talking to one another, right? And they should try to resolve this issue basically in an amicable way. If the property that this tenant is moving from is still vacant and is available, right? Talk to your current landlord, ask him if you could stay for a couple extra months, and at the same time, talk to the new landlord and try to negotiate the same. DLD supported His Highness Sheikh Maktoum bin Mohammed's directive to stop the rental evictions of houses and commercial establishments for which a decision was issued to close them due to non-payment of rent during the months of March and April. This was supported by RDC, the Rental Dispute Committee, and RDC now is offering remote litigation service. This service allows the parties to rental disputes or their representatives to attend the hearing before the judge electronically. RDC has warned landlords against taking matters into their own hands by disconnecting the tenant's DIWA, for example. They are not allowed to do so under any circumstances. Any disputes in between the parties. So what I'm trying to say is, if they can't reach an amicable decision, if they can't reach a happy medium for the two parties, they should refer their case to RDC for the judge to look into this matter, review the facts, and of course, rule accordingly.
And how do they get to RDC online right now?
So visit the RDC website, and it takes them through a step-by-step process on how to have their case heard electronically.
Okay, thank you. Now, on the flip side, a question has been asked: does the tenant have the right to demand freezing of the rent?
Okay, so the actual laws have not changed, right? There is ideally, in terms of rental increases, as we know, Lynette, it's as per the rental index, provided that the landlord give at least 3 months, 90 days notice prior to the expiry of the rental agreement. So there's nothing, again, that have changed as far as this law is concerned. This is where I go back and say how important it is for the two parties, landlord and tenant, to talk to one another and try to help one another during this time. This is, what we're witnessing is not exclusive to Dubai. What we're witnessing is not exclusive to the UAE or to the rental market. This is something that we as humans are witnessing all over the world. I think it's best for us to try to work together to try to solve the issue in a way that is agreeable to both parties. It's really, sometimes I get a lot of people asking about the rights of the tenant when we really don't look on the other side as well. We have landlords that potentially have lost their job themselves, or maybe have encountered a freeze on their salaries, and they are depending on the rental income coming from that rented property. So we also have to consider their position as well. And this is where I say, again, it's not about what do we have here in place as laws, but let's try to work together as humans, try to look into these matters, try to solve them in a happy, lovey-dovey way. If not, of course, they have to resort to RDC.
Okay, thank you, Hiba. Now, this is a very popular question, and I've been hearing this for quite some time about Form F and the broker app. So from my understanding, it's sometimes difficult to register a Form F. Sometimes the seller's not registered in the system, which will need to get done first, and it's just not being successful for the agents. So during this time, will DLD accept a digital signature on Form F, A, and B, or a soft copy?
Okay, so good question, because I myself have been getting a lot of inquiries about that specific situation. So I've inquired with Eris about this, and part of the reason I really just kind of want to highlight as to why it's been such a hassle for brokers to update or to change the seller's information once they input it into the system through the Dubai Brokers app. And this is partially because to be honest with you, Lynette, is to avoid fraud. What we've or what Aris have witnessed is some agents are adding their own phone numbers rather than the seller's information, and as such basically blocking the property. So in a way, accepting the sale of the property on behalf of the seller when they're really not in a position to do so. So this is why this restriction has been put in place. Having said that, if there is a legit request and there is a need for the agents to change the data or the details of the seller, they can contact Aris. I have the email with me that they can use to rectify this issue, support@aris.ae. And if for whatever reason they can't reach out or they don't hear back from them, honestly, I have no issues with them trying to reach out to me personally, and I'll try to help them in any way I can.
There are a lot of questions for Hiba. So Hiba, it's great to have you with us. Lynette, do you want to cover them?
Yes, and I've been going through all the questions that you have sent, and there's been a lot asking again about transferring property, Hiba. So some are saying that no new title deeds have been issued during this time. Can you please clarify this? Because obviously we are seeing transactions happen on a daily basis.
So like I said, again, DLD is still working, right? Remotely, registration trustees are connecting with DLD. Dubai Brokers app and Dubai REST applications is also being used. The only thing is maybe there's delays, again, considering, guys, that we're all in this together. So I would appreciate a little bit of patience in terms of when things can get done. But things are operating and everybody's doing the best they can in order to facilitate sale transactions.
Okay, and also Hiba, I'm just going to throw out a little bit of data out here of the current sales stat. So in April, as of yesterday, we've had 585 off-plan transactions, 198 secondary transactions, which bring us to a total of 783. Just today, as of right now, we've had 60 transactions, which brings a total to 245 transactions for this week. So that's the latest data from Dubai Land Department.
That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, next question, and this is a big question that we've been asked by our agents for many months, is about the tenancy contracts. Currently, they need to be physically signed. During these times, will RERA accept a digitally signed tenancy agreement?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you my take on this because I need 100% confirmation before I go official with this specific answer. Ijari, you know, Ijari can be digital now, right? This is kind of what we've been announcing through the Dubai REST. Landlord himself can actually have access to the Dubai REST by either inputting his mobile number or the title deed number, and can issue Ijari for his tenants. Alternatively, property management companies have also access to Ijari, and they can register Ijari, and that's all being done remotely, digitally, without physical signatures being required. The actual tenancy contract, again, like you said, correctly so, it would have been required to have been signed physically, and again, because of the process and how it used to happen, where you had an agent in the middle and kind of facilitating the transaction between the two parties, holding deposit checks and what have you. So having said that, the way I see it, recognizing the and observing the regulations as required by the lockdown and of course the government of Dubai, I really would find it very hard for any judge not to take that into consideration should these matters ever escalate to a dispute between a landlord and tenant. They're going to look at why was this specific tenancy contract signed digitally and not physically? Well, it's because nobody could actually be out and about, and I think they will take that into consideration. But let me give you 100% confirmation on that answer once I get the official answer, and I will share it with you and of course on our LinkedIn page.
Perfect, thank you. And just to share with everybody, I know two people, so two end users who has successfully registered their Ijari with their landlord. So they and their landlord did the transaction fully online within 2 hours, and DEWA was also activated. So I know firsthand that this is happening as well. Okay, next question is, MOI has halted and is backlogged with issuing employee cards. Will RERA accept application for an employee card to issue the broker card?
So again, I'll tell you what I've heard. I've heard that if you do approach RERA, there are certain I want to say undertakings or forms that you would have to fill out, but I think they might facilitate you going ahead and getting your certification card, provided that you've basically met all the other requirements. So, you know, have you taken the course? Have you gotten the completion certificate or the attendance certificate of the online course? So there's a lot of steps before you reach that specific point. But I've also heard, and feel free, Atif, Stewart, and Lynette, to jump in, I've also heard that Ministry of Labor is actually issuing labor approvals. Have you guys heard otherwise?
I haven't heard otherwise. From my understanding, they're business as usual. They are obviously backlogged, but they are still issuing employee cards.
It's happening digitally. It's happening
Exactly,
differently.
exactly,
Yes.
Atif Lynette. So I'm not sure exactly why this question, when what I've heard is everybody's being operational. The only thing is exactly what you said, Lynette. I think there's just a backlog, or maybe things are not being done as quickly as we were used to having it being done in Dubai, but simply because we're all in this together. So there's just, we have to be patient.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And I have to say, here in the UAE, we're super lucky to have a government that is very tech savvy and have most of their services online. I mean, the rest of the world is clearly suffering. Another question for you, Hiba. What is DREI doing during this time to support real estate professionals?
Okay, so number one, we moved to online courses. So that was our number one kind of reaction to the situation that we're currently facing. Before, as you know, we didn't really have online courses. So we moved the most important courses online now, which are the certification courses. So if you're a new broker or if you're renewing your license, what you can do is just take the online course. Upon completion of the course, you will get your certificate of attendance. Using that certificate of attendance, that's good to go for you to use for renewal of license or to issue you a new broker's card. The exam will be done for those who need to take an exam, because again, there's a kind of a difference between if you have more than 5 certificates or less than 5 certificates, or if a new broker. Hopefully starting July, we would go back to offering the exam. You take the exam, you have about 3 months to complete it. Of course, we always urge and recommend for everyone to take the test sooner rather than later, and then they'll be good to go. So other than that, we've also, and again, I know you've been following me on LinkedIn and following Dubai Real Estate Institute on LinkedIn. We've had many educational and informative sessions that have been previously recorded, because I've gotten a lot of people being concerned and saying, Hiba, you're going to the office. And so that was previously recorded, but sessions that are perfect, released at the right time. So I've done them in English with my colleague, Dr. Brahim Lahbash, and we're going to also do them in Arabic for our Arabic speakers. We've released 2 videos so far. So just keep watching that space for more information to come. And of course, being with you today on the webinar is another initiative supported by DREI to try to bring transparency and awareness and education to the market in any way we can.